Okay. All right, everybody. I think we're going to get started now. Just a little disclaimer right here at the top. We are missing a couple of our panelists, Ramona Fradon and IRWIN Hasen. But the good news is that the panelists that we do have are, first of all, so amazing and so accomplished. And hopefully, by the time I get through their intros and bios, the other two panelists will have shown up, because it will take that long to list their many, many accomplishments. Now, let me just say this is the welcome to the Golden and Silver Age Legends panel. It's so great to see such an amazing turnout. To my left, we have Al Jaffee, legendary Mad Magazine Al, of course, is the creator of two long-running Mad features, the Snappy Answers to Stupid Questions and Mad Bulletin. And Al is also the subject of the brand new biography, Al Jaffee's Mad Life, written by Meredith Weissman, with over 36 new illustrations by Al, which is on sale now from HarperCollins. And Al is also the subject of the new retrospective art exhibit, Is This the Al Jaffee Art Exhibit, which is on, yeah, clever title, huh? Which is on display now at the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art and is co-curated by yours truly. I'll get to that later. And to Al's immediate left, we have Mr. Jerry Robinson. Jerry, for the two of you who don't know, is one of the most acclaimed of Bob Kane's assistants on Batman feature in the late 30s and early 40s, and of course was also the creator of the Joker. He's also an acclaimed and award-winning political cartoonist and humanitarian. And I should also mention that right after this panel, at booth number 2337, the Abrams Comic Art booth, he will be signing copies of this book, Jerry Robinson, Ambassador of Comics by N.C. Christopher Couch. Right here. Ooh. I'm sorry? Sorry, 2327. Can't read my own handwriting. That's why I should correct things up. And also at the Dark Horse booth, you can get this book, The Comics, an illustrated history of comic strip art from 1895 to 2010, also written by Jerry Robinson. And right there at the Dark Horse booth, they're also selling the 2 volumes, collecting his Jet Scott strip, which I believe we'll also be talking about during the panel. Now, to Jerry's immediate left, we have Mr. John Romita Sr. Is, of course, a legendary Marvel artist, an illustrator best known for his career-defining run on Spider-Man, co-creation of many of the legendary Spider-Man villains and supporting characters. And he recently did some artwork for some alternate covers, I believe, for IDW on the Angel series, which is really great. As for myself, my name is Arie Kaplan. I'm a writer for DC Comics and Bongo and Archie Comics, and the author of the book From Krakow to Krypton, Jews and Comic Books, for which I interviewed both Al and Jerry. No offense, John. sorry about that.
Another try.
Yeah, for the next, yeah.
The exhibition said Jews wops.
He had to go there, really. Just kind of put it like that. All right, okay, let's just launch into it. They're getting excited in the next room. Okay. So my first question is for Al. Talk to me about a little bit of, this panel is called Golden and Silver Age Legends. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that term, the Golden Age, because we refer to it now as a Golden Age. This is actually a question for all three of you, but first I'd like to hear from Al. Is it a bit odd or ironic that you're now hearing people like myself referring to this period, the late 30s and 40s, as the Golden Age of comics?
I actually thought of myself as coming from the rock age. I engraved my characters on the wall of the caves. But I I'm not as, my career in comics is not as distinguished as Jerry's and John's because I did Little Animals and Teenage Girls and things like Super Rabbit, and eventually the siren call from that came and I left that part of it. But while I was there, it was really a wonderful experience working with Stan Lee and so many of the greats who went on to great careers in the business. I'm not going to, go back and tell you anecdotes about my life with Stan Lee, but Stan was very influential in my career, mainly, if you can call it that, mainly because he was very smart, and in very few words, he could direct you, put you in the right direction, and then he would leave me on my own. He would say, go ahead, and here's what I'd like to see in this comic book, and go ahead and write it. And I would write the whole thing, the entire comic book, and illustrate it, and bring it to him, and never, and he didn't fool around with it after that. So, of course, that was a very smooth working relation that I particularly enjoyed. After a while, he appointed me associate editor of the Teenage and Humor line, and I tried to do that with some of the talent that came my way, and there were a few with whom I could do that. Danny DiCarlo was one of them, and a number of others. But at that point, I did appreciate what Stan's trust in me really meant, because most of the time you have to very seriously watch the work that's coming in and make sure that it goes right. So I appreciated my time with Stan Lee.
Great, Jerry. So, yeah, if you could just tell us a little bit about sort of what it was like when you first started. How did you first get involved in drawing Batman? Or I believe you were inking and lettering it at first, right? And how did you first meet Bob Kane? How did that happen?
Well, I first met Bob Kane, I just graduated high school, 17, and I sold ice cream for the summer in a cart. They had it, you pedaled in the back of a bicycle. They didn't have motorized ice cream carts at that time. And to earn enough money for the first semester of college, I intended to be a journalist, and I applied to Columbia and Syracuse and Penn, which I was accepted and didn't know which one to go to. And so I picked Syracuse because it sounded more like a college town. I'd never been to New York, and I couldn't imagine. So after selling ice cream, I was on the 98-pound track team in high school, and by the end of the summer, so having an ice cream cart all over town, I was down to about 78 pounds. And my mother persuaded me to take $25 from hard-earned royalties of selling a popsicle. I think I get a cent and a half royalty for each popsicle. And I accumulated this money for the first semester, so she insisted I take $25 to go to the mountains to fatten up, because she thought I'd never survive the first semester of college. So I agreed, and I went to this resort, and the first day out, I put on my tennis outfit. I have to play tennis. I was there to gain weight, but nothing was going to deter me from tennis. That was my lifelong passion. And at the court, I put on a jacket that was a painter's jacket. That was a fad at college at that time. And everybody decorated their jacket with various graffiti of the day. And I did it with my own cartoons. I had been a cartoonist and writer for the paper, and had no thought of being a career cartoonist. And I wore this jacket out to the